Hi, I'm Keisuke Fukuda. I am an assistant professor at the psychology department at University of Toronto, Mississauga. I run Fukuda Lab, where we study human memory and attention and all the things that are related to it. The motto of the lab is read the mind to lead the mind. So when I was a middle school, high school student, I was not a good student. I've been constantly frustrated by how many hours I have to spend in putting these things into my mind that eventually will fall off the mind at the convenient time of taking the test, right? So I decided to read some psychology book to figure out why my memory sucks, and that's where I found the love in studying science of mind. So then I decided to go to a university overseas in the United States. So I studied at University of Oregon. There I met my mentors who opened the door for me to do the research of human mind, and I just found my passion there. So after finishing 4 years of bachelor's degree at University of Oregon, I decided to work with two of my mentors then to pursue my PhD. After getting the PhD, I spent 4 years doing a postdoctoral research position at Vanderbilt University, Tennessee, in the United States. And in 2016, I got my job here as an assistant professor. So my research are all motivated by daily frustration. So whenever I talk to my trainees, I say, I am a selfish researcher because I want to make my life better. Well, where I have my frustration is usually about my cognitive ability. I have a horrible attention. I get easily distracted. Also, I have horrible memories. I keep forgetting things that I should be doing, and at the same time, I keep ruminating on the things I should just get out of my mind. So to make my life a little easier, and also to make the life of others who I live with or work with better, I do scientific investigation of why mind works in a certain way, and if there's any way to make it better. So I use multiple methodologies, use behavioral testing, computational modeling, and also electrophysiology. So first order of business is to figure out why our mind makes us behave in a certain way. And we do that by using behavioral testing, asking people to remember something or pay attention to a certain thing while I try to distract their mind, to figure out what is the weak point and strong point of our mind in controlling a behavior. Once we figure that out, we try to establish a working model of why that might happen, and also we try to look inside the brain to figure out what kind of brain activity gives rise to such a mental phenomenon. I love doing research, so I was fascinated by reading about other people's scientific work, but what was more fun was to actually do that research, because it's kind of like exploring in uncharted territory, things that nobody had known before. So since it's uncharted territory, all the things that we do is not guaranteed to work. More often than not, we find something unexpected. But that's the fun. All this constant problem solvings, and also meeting with people, working with people who share the similar passion adds more fun to this whole experience of doing research. The hardest moment is when I get stuck. So the example of that is when I can't really come up with the best experiment to test this burning question of interest. Or sometimes when the data that we get doesn't really seem to work with all the working hypotheses that we have. But the beauty of the science is not hardest doesn't mean the least fun. It can be the most fun experience at the end of the day. And when I get stuck, what I do are one of two things. One, I talk with people in my lab to share my frustration, and by talking through their frustrations, it's usually the moment when I realize how to get through that challenge. Or I explicitly take time off research. I do other passion of my life, fishing, to kind of put myself away from the muddy state that I'm in. And usually these distancing myself is the key to make, again, key advances in my moment of stuckness. I'll say to my young self to keep going, keep knocking on the door of possibilities, and remember everything that you are learning then, because that's all the blessing that you will be giving back to the future generations. So my proudest moment is when my trainees come knocking on my door saying, hey, do you want to see something cool? And show me the data or new analyses that I didn't know existed. Because that tells me that this trainee is now being as excited or more excited about their own project. Another proud moment is when I get challenged by my trainees. When they say, okay, I think what you're thinking is wrong and here's why, and show me their own independent thinking. Again, that shows that they're owning their research, and that's the proudest moment, and also the moment that I feel most humble, to be surrounded by these bright minds. My long-term goal is to keep doing what I'm doing as long as I can. I've seen so many great dinosaurs, so to speak, of the cognitive psychology research. They, in the age of 80s and 90s, they still come to the lab and work as hard as any young scientist. They inspire me greatly, and I want to be one of them.